All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Commissioner Gage, so you lead us in the question.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next up, we'll open the meeting for any public comments. Anyone wish to address the commission this morning on any topic that is not on the agenda?
Yes. Promised to bring in our new nurse. This is Amanda Brumfield. She's the new nurse for the jail, JDC. So,
Good morning.
good morning. Introduce her in front of everybody. If you have any questions, she'll answer them.
You bet.
She doesn't know
I was
it
told to
yet.
be ready for any questions.
Well, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, it's been great. It's a great team you got in there.
How's the boss?
Good job. Which one? I never know who to call. Yeah, no, it's great. It's been a good transition. We're a law enforcement family, so it's a familiar environment.
Good,
So,
good.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good meeting you.
Thanks, guys.
Anyone else wish to address commission this morning?
So, sure. My name is Kelly.
Good morning.
Hi, nice to meet you. A couple of us are here today just to put it in your ears that we're gonna kind of complain about the rendering at the beef plant. I know this is a difficult thing for everyone to hear. I'm not from here. I moved here. I own my own home on Eisenhower Circle all by myself. I moved here in November of 2021. And so when this all started and the neighbors were kind of getting together, I didn't know about it. I was unaware of the situation, but I am very much aware of the situation almost every day. I have a couple little dogs that I let out all the time, right? I love to be outside. I'm a stepmom, so I have 4 children that come over to my house. And we have to do the sniff test before we go outside. It is, I've been using the term horrendous. I really hope, I've been told the city isn't going to do anything for us, but I've also been told that our county commissioners really listen when people talk. So we're just here to let you know we're concerned. I'm not only concerned about our health, I mean, what am I breathing in? I'm concerned about my value of my home. I'm a single woman who owns my own home. No one helps me pay my mortgage. And I've been thinking about moving because of this. Unfortunately, I'd have to move local because I have stepchildren and I love my boyfriend and I'm not giving that up for the smell. I could always move back home to the East Coast. But I brought an article from the Aberdeen News when I was doing a little bit of research, and there's been some lies that were written in the article now that you guys can tell me exactly how far it's been since the rendering actually began. But we were told the system was a closed loop. There would be no product exposed to the air. The odor is confined to the machinery with no avenue to escape. And then if there are problems, or any of the stipulations aren't met, that the county can revoke the permit, that us residents can file private nuisance complaints, which unfortunately I don't have the funds to hire a private attorney and do that against a large, beef plant. So unless anyone else wants to speak, hopefully we can get on your agenda at a later date, but I was informed that right now it would be important to just let you know the concerns. And it's not just Eisenhower Circle. I know that we're the most south, right? I love the neighborhood. It's so family friendly. People have been living there for 25, 30. My house has never been on the market. It was a family friend that we purchased through. But yeah, it's really bad. And I encourage any of you, I'll give you my name, my phone number. You can come sit at my house on a day where it's happening. But it's pretty bad. And I hope that this is taken seriously. I realize the amount of money that place generates for this county is huge. But I also know that there is a lot of money, so can it be moved? Can we figure out with engineers how don't know, can it go underground, can it go underwater, like, just, there has to be another option, and I'm really hoping you guys can help us.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Yes, I'd like to put on the agenda for next week about looking at a culverts to restore the natural waterway west of Mansfield.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else out there
Well,
online?
Can I go ahead and just add to that? I mean,
Sure.
a little bit. My
Sure.
name's Tana Westby, that's my husband Jim, and neighbor Joe. I've lived in Eisenhower Circle 26 years, and I love it there. There's no one who lives behind me. The beef plant, the rendering plant. We like to be outside, but the snow is so bad. You cannot on those days. And this summer's been terrible. In a way, I wished I would have marked the days, but I didn't. I don't know. My daughter came over. They moved to the circle a couple years ago. She's crying. She's like, I can't stand it, Mom. I can't stand it. I regret moving here. You know, and so I put it out on Facebook, you know, if there was any other concerns around. But I've been hearing back from people who live at by Northern. They smell it. So there you go. We've got all these students from all these different places that come here, and they get to smell it along with their parents when they come to football games or whatever. Somebody on First Avenue contacted me and said they smell it. My daughter works out at OSS. She says, you know, Mom, I can smell it out there. So I love where I live. I don't want to move, but I don't want to smell this. And yes, I'm concerned about the odor and what really is. And it was supposed to be state-of-the-art equipment that was going to keep no odor. There would be no odor, but there is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to say one thing. The odor wasn't bad until they put the rendering part in, and then all of a sudden it's terrible. We couldn't really smell it much before, but once they put the rendering plant in, it's daily, especially when we got a south wind. So.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to add out there online or on the phone? Just as a way of explanation, I want everybody to understand, it's not that we're not interested or take this issue seriously. The purpose of public comment is to listen and not interact. So until we get it on the agenda, we will take your comments, and we appreciate you coming in, but there's no interaction during public comment. So if you want to get it on the agenda, get a hold of the auditor, and we'll have it added to the agenda, and then we can open it up for public discussion, and we can interact.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You
for
bet.
listening.
Just didn't want you to think we were blowing you off or anything, so. Anyone else? If not, we will move on to the next agenda item. First up, Gina Karst, Safe Harbor update. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning. I'm not coming for money, so you guys can all
Okay.
relax. So I just thought, here, I'm just kind of giving some, can I sit here? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's October, and it's Domestic Violence Awareness Prevention Month. And so I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about, you know, how busy we've been. And then also to talk about that we are seeing that our national dollars are falling short. We lost $161,000 in our victim service grants that we received. I'm not telling you this because I'm asking for money. I will take it though, if you have some. But I'm telling you this because we need to discuss this so that everybody is aware of it, and it's just more of just to have discussion. We had a listening session a few weeks ago that Mr. Gage was able to attend. And it's just, you know, it's a scary thing to think of that we are looking at this huge deficit in our dollars. And if you see this year, our fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th. So this past fiscal year, 2024, we served 435 people. 386 of those were from Brown County. And the rest of them, we served 7 counties, so the rest were from those 7 counties and some other areas. But we're busy. I mean, right now in our shelter we have 5 women and 7 kids. And it's been kind of consistent that way for a few months. But it's just kind of a scary thought of what we're gonna do in the coming years. The last 3 years, with the dollars that we've lost in our victim services, the state has been able to put money towards all the DV agencies across the state. I don't know what that's going to look like in the coming years, where we're gonna be next year for anything. But it is concerning, and I'm wanting other people to be concerned. So that's why I'm coming to these type of meetings to have this discussion, so you can see that we have been busy. And if we're not here, then the whole county, the city is gonna face a lot of issues if our agency doesn't exist. It is, this is just one of our problems. Our other issue is that we have housing issues. Statistically, we've had people staying 45 to 60 days with us in the shelter, because housing is just not available. And then transportation being another issue, that we have very limited transportation for our kids getting to school, parents getting to jobs, any of those things. We have a very difficult time. We pay probably $1,000 a month just in transportation fees for our people to get to and from wherever they're going. So it gets really expensive. But it's just, there's a lot of obstacles that we have, and I mean, we're here, we're providing all the resources that we can. I'll add another obstacle, is that Ellendale, as you guys probably read in the paper, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, that they have that Bitcoin, do you call it a business or a building? I'm not really sure, but it's brought in lots of more people. And there is a program, a domestic violence program out in Ellendale, that they don't have a shelter, but they utilize the hotels and apartments that they have to be able to house any of their victims. And the director called me and she said, I have nowhere to put people, because everything is being taken by the new employees that are coming in for this Bitcoin industry. So she called me to see if we can house some of her victims, which of course we are. But again, this is going to add in more people that we're trying to serve. And we can do it, but I've had to cut back on staff. I'm down one full-time staff person, which makes it difficult for us because we've been really busy. And so it's just been a struggle, and we're working through it, and we'll be fine. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but we will be fine. It's just going to be a process, and I want to make sure that people are aware of what we're kind of up against right now. And hopefully, going forward, we'll find lots more money somewhere. I don't know where it'll be, but somewhere. And if you have it, I'll take it.
How does that work when somebody from North Dakota comes down to your agency? Is that part of your group?
Yeah, we can't turn anybody away. So if they're fleeing from an abusive situation and they need resources and help,
So do they fund you then out of Allendale?
They can't, because we're federal dollars, they can't. Yeah, I know.
So they're seeking the help up there where they are at, but then they're coming.
Yeah, they're having to come here.
Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I love the federal program.
Yeah, I know.
All the strings attached.
I know, yep. But, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, we're kind of at the mercy.
Right.
And it's okay, but, yeah, it's just one of those things.
Well, thank you for what you do.
Yeah.
I know you provide a valuable service, and
Thank
very
you.
much appreciated.
Yes, thanks for taking the time to listen to me
Thank you.
rant. I wasn't trying to rant, I really wanted to just bring awareness.
If we find any extra money, we'll keep you in mind.
Good, thank you.
We'll add you to our list of people.
Yeah, of all the people I want money, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, up next, Mike Scott, landfill manager, to set solid waste fees. Morning, Mike.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Well, we set our tipping fees last week at the landfill, and this is just to address the fees at our container sites. That's the assessment fee that goes on the taxes, so we're looking at raising those by $5 per type, as you see below here, with where they've got curbside, non-curbside, mobile homes, condos, whatever it happens to be. It would be a $5 increase in fees. And I'm not exactly sure how much that would raise. It's a little difficult to figure that out. We don't know, have an exact count. I'm guessing it would be in the $30,000 to $35,000 range. And this is right now we've got 4 part-time people that maintain those sites and look at video, we generate right around $650,000 in revenue from that assessment to pay for the transportation of that trash to the landfill and to pay for the, I guess, just burying that waste. So that's what those funds are for.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but aren't we the only county in South Dakota that has rural dumpster sites?
We are the only county. We've got 18 container sites throughout Brown County, and we are the only one. So,
and I know a lot of people throughout the county appreciate that, and friends and relatives that I have across the state are envious of the fact that we make that available, so it is a service that people
It's a good
appreciate.
service, everything's centralized,
Yep.
localized, and it's a lot of maintenance and upkeep and costs involved with it, and that's the reason for the slight increase in the fee.
It keeps a lot of trash out of the ditches.
Yep, that's a big thing.
Yep. All right, well, I've heard no complaints on the proposed increase.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Gage to approve the up into the increase in fees. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right.
All right, that's all I got.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Kelsey Binger, State Attorney Grant Coordinator, and Laura Nelson, Northern State University Work Study. Request funds from the Diversion Reimbursement Incentive. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, you're here asking for money.
I am. I know, I kept giving Gina a look. Stop bragging. But to be fair, this is money that I have earned through the Diversion Incentive Fund. So I don't believe Laura Nelson has been at a commission meeting before, so I just want to introduce her. She is somebody that I've been working with on the Oyate Court, or the Watakie Oyate program, that you had previously signed the grant application for through the Council for Juvenile Services. So every year we get a diversion incentive check back from the state of South Dakota for successfully diverting youth from our criminal justice system. Lynn, Carly, and I just got the email yesterday that Brown County will be receiving the check for $72,750 this year for successful diversions in the last fiscal year. So this is an increase from the fiscal year 2023 because there was a Senate bill that was passed last legislative season upping the per successful diversion amount from $250 to $750. So with that being said, we do have the grant for the Racial and Ethnic Disparities Grant through the Council for Juvenile Services. That was a $20,000 grant. So we are able to, we wrote in as much as we could into that grant. However, there are some additional expenses. So I would like to request that at least $15,000 of that diversion reinvestment, successful diversion money come back to the program so that we could look at engaging in a work study, having a case manager that could work with these youth that are going through this diversion program. It's always something that I've been passionate about, that though I'm willing to be involved, I think it's very important that these kids have a central point of contact and somebody that looks like them and understands their culture. And the individual we have in mind and is willing to do this work study is on board to teach language classes and do different programming and different cultural activities. So I think it would be a great opportunity to bring somebody on board for fairly cost-effective.
And so, thank you for having me today. So I just thought that this was a great partnership and a collaboration, and we've been kind of working back and forth since June, and we're actually to this point where I felt like this was like a make it or break it moment to be able to split the funds. So that's when we came up with creating a new, this would be a new job description. It would be housed under the American Indian Circle program that I currently oversee now. And the person with whom we would be looking at to be our main coordinator is my graduate assistant. He was doing 2 years now with his master's program. He's been with me in the program as a peer mentor for 5 years, so I know him very well. And this is just right up his alley, doing different kinds of cultural things as well, working with the families, and then being able to expand our peer mentor program with this specific population. So right now I run with 4 peer mentors that help with the transition from first year in freshman, sophomore. This would be specifically working with the coordinator and this program in the community. And so these are brand new job positions that we then would use our federal funding half and half. So whatever you guys would match, we would match 50% through the longevity of that contract time, which would go till the end of May when everybody leaves and goes on summer break. And then again, bring it up during the academic year. Hopefully this is something that will work and we can have successful data and successful diversion outcomes that this would just be a standard new job positions for some students.
Okay. I'm going to defer to our legal counsel and our auditor. Do either of you see any reason why these funds cannot be utilized for this purpose?
No, I think actually the idea behind the reinvestment program is for the funds to come from Kelsey's work and Carla's work diverting cases from the juvenile court system, then be reinvested into the diversion program. So I think this is exactly what those funds are for.
Very good. All right. Well, it makes sense to me. It sounds like a good use of those funds. And I appreciate the fact that the legislature saw fit to increase. That's a significant increase, so that's good for all of us. So I guess if anyone has any questions, now would be the time to ask. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the use of the $15,000 towards this program that they're requesting. And to agree to the agreement.
That's the NSU one. Remember, what was the total dollars again?
So we will be receiving $72,750 back. And in the email it says that the check will be mailed hopefully by the end of the week. So receiving that.
I'll move the 15,000 in the agreement.
And approve of the agreement, okay. Motion by Dennert, second by Beldon. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you, Laura.
Yep.
Thanks for what you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Dirt Projects Highway Superintendent, right away for Lynette Durheim and the 5-year highway plan.
Howdy.
Good times.
Good times. Good times and lots of money that we're gonna do some good things with, so. First off, let's do the right-of-way for Durheim's up there. Carl, I'm gonna have to ask you to find another chair once I get going, once I got my map there, if that's all right. Is that okay?
No, it's great.
I don't want you mad at me.
I'm not mad.
Okay.
You're a good guy.
All right.
You can have my chair short.
Between the web lines on this side of the road in section 14, they're just gonna put a water out there, they're gonna put a casing around the pipe when they bore through the road, and it's actually a pretty good job of doing it. We've done several of these, it's hooked up to web, so I'm cool with it.
That's next to the curve.
Yes, it's just, I think it's actually right where the curve goes back to being tangent again on the, going to the west, right when you straighten out, it should be right there. You guys, I see, so.
Move to approve. Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Gage to approve the right-of-way occupancy.
Have everybody in the room sign that, whether they work here or not, okay?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right. 5-year plan time. So just a little precursor. I'm gonna just touch on bridges. You know, usually I got that long list. Sure. Well, you better know what's coming, dude. You can tear off the back page if you're worried about it. You know, only the next 4 pertain to you, that's fine. So normally I go through the whole list of bridges. Our bridge inspections have to be done by November 1st, and this report has to be in by October 15th. So normally what I do is I bring last year's bridge inspections and we go through them. Instead, I'm just gonna touch on the ones that are in the plan, and in a month or so, when I get the updated list, I'll come in and we'll have a little discussion about, you know, the whole long list of bridges, but anybody else want a copy?
And I want to add that the five-year plan is one of the requirements of us being eligible for accessing any of the big funds for the bridge improvement grant.
Yep, it's tied to the funding that came out of Senate Bill 1 in 2015, and one of the requirements is that we do a public meeting, which is a good deal. Fortunately, we did have, or in the past I have had, prior to this, we did have a bit of a plan always, you know, so this sort of, I don't know, standardizes it, and everybody in the state is sending the same stuff in, and then they have their competitive thing for their competitive bidding then, or awards for the eligible projects. Okay, another thing is don't get caught up in year 5. I'm gonna come back to that, because we'd have to have a $24 million budget, and we'd have to get 14 of the $15 million awarded through the big program that year, and neither of those things are gonna happen. It's just an accounting thing that I'm gonna actually change, but I'll explain it when I get there. So, here's a map, and one other change that, in the past, I haven't put microsurfacing on here. You know, this has basically just been 2-inch overlays, or full overlays, and bridges. Well, micro is gonna become a bigger part of it, and I kinda classify that as a little larger investment than your regular maintenance and chip sealing. So moving forward, starting with this year, I'm gonna start putting the micro surfacing projects in there. It's not represented superbly on this map. They're on there, but this is the first time I've tried to, we got the same roads over the course of 5 years, because the microsurfacing is like a maintenance thing that you're gonna come in behind new asphalt on. So, a few of these, it gets a little tricky on the map to actually see what we're doing, but I'll kinda explain what it is. So that's another change, but I'm just gonna start in on the first year if you guys are good. This is what we'd be doing next year, then starting in the spring. Those first 5 entries on there, there's 6 miles of 2-inch overlay, 5 miles, 3.5 miles of 2-inch overlay on Brown County 29, 18, 5, and 11. That's all the same project. That's all gonna be up here. It's all the orange. The orange is a little bit, that's what I'm talking about. It's hard to see the orange because we put the microsurfacing over it, but this stuff is represented in the orange, and it's all, those first 5 lines will all be put into a project, and we'll be bidding it between Thanksgiving and the end of the year sometime for next year, for this paving up here. So that's what those first, it's like 18.5 miles, I think, if you add it up. Is all gonna be there. And then the other thing in the other 2 things in 2025, as far as asphalt work, is, we're missing 2 miles on this, but it'll be this orange all the way back into Mansfield. And I think I got that on there as 8 miles, so. And that we'll be doing ourselves. And whatever ends up being left on Road 9, we didn't get there. We're up here doing 5 today, or no, excuse me, tomorrow we'll actually be paving 5. For the rest of the week, we'll be up there, we'll get that all ready, so that'll all get done, that first mile at Frederick, and then we're gonna go over and do the spot on 14, and then we got another spot down the Tacoma Park Road. But I didn't mean to throw that in there. This was something that we were gonna maybe try to get to at the end of this year, but we're not gonna. As of today, there's 3.7 miles in that 9 that need work. Whether or not that ends up being 4.7 next year, we'll have to see, but I don't anticipate it'll be too much worse, because the newer parts are pretty much staying new, it's just the bad parts are getting worse. Worst case scenario, we'd have to mill certain sections in there before we pave it, but I intend to put the whole thing back to being paved again. So we'll do that, this ourselves, and then that bigger project on the northeast part of the county. And then we're gonna hop down to these 3 bridges. The 2, Sand Lake Bridge, we've talked about, we're reapplying for a grant on the 2nd because we'll get better funding, I feel, and every intent is that we'll be building that one next year, okay? Inland, we'll visit about it later. The funding thing where we had to pay, and that's changed a little bit, but we'll get the details of it. So we got the Sand Lake Bridge. The Elm Lake Bridge will be rebid. It was already bid once. The number was obnoxiously high, so that one will get rebid here before the end of the year as well. And then this one we haven't talked about at all, too much. It's kind of a out in the middle of nowhere kind of bridge, but the problem we got is it went from 15 ton, which is still bad, but you can still take some things across it, down to having to be closed in 2 years. For good reason, it's got some issues. We're trying to sort out what we're gonna do with that. The deck is still good. We might try putting a substructure underneath it and reusing the deck pieces, but we haven't completely defined what that'll be. I think I put a little money in there for it. A little money, $500,000, but we'll see what it ends up, what we end up doing there. I think $500,000 would be plenty. That's pretty much if we had to redo the whole thing, and we might find by then that maybe it's a candidate to just close and move on from, but right now, today, we're not quite there yet.
Where's that located exactly?
So that's 2 miles north of Road 9 up there,
Okay.
and it's a mile off of McPherson County. The only hiccup with it is there's a bridge here on 6 that's the same like the Warner Bridge. I'm gonna talk about those bridges, but you can go over it with semis, but not dump trucks. There's nothing else, there's no other crossings out here. We were kinda looking at pipe, and I haven't completely ruled that out either, but if we do pipe, we have to do one of 2 things. We gotta be a little more forward thinking, like we were not on the Hall crossing, for what we put in there, like a legit concrete slurry, something on the top that will just wash over. You know, if we do that, as you guys know, we got a little more grade coming down to that structure than you would say on something in here, so that is gonna be a concern, because it's pretty substantial runoff coming down. What'd you say is upstream, 210?
Wood Pipe and McPherson, and
Yeah.
then there's just low water crossings.
They have a lot of
Each
low
mile
water
down.
crossings
Yeah.
further up there, so anyway, that's one that was not on the radar and literally just fell off its cap, and the beams underneath are sitting like this. It's not a very good looking deal. And then the last one on there is I've got the Sand Lake in there with the new funding mechanism. We'd pay $1 million.
That's 184.
Yeah. And then the last one is the Sand Lake Bridge, which we only have to pay like a 4.5% match. That's in the federal local bridge program. So that one's a full-blown federal, bridge program, and you don't normally have those unless they do the one-time monies that they keep doing every year. Okay, that's next year. You guys got questions or confusion or anything?
I don't see anything about Blacktop or Westport till 11.
Huh.
Yeah.
Boy. I'll look. I don't know, maybe Matt knows about it.
That'll never happen, I know.
You know, I used to say never more than I do now, if that makes you feel any better. Okay, so we'll jump into the next year, which is 26. Just same kind of stuff. We'll continue on down here. We'll do the other side of 27 ourselves, down on the county line. And you know something, I don't know why that hasn't, we haven't done anything substantial there for like at least 22 years that I can remember. I'm not saying we didn't patch it or chip seal it, but compared to a lot of roads in the county, I'm always stunned that that one is not worse than it is, because it gets some pretty good action down there with egg production. Mile going into Warner. Where the heck am I? The road. The bridge is a separate topic, we'll come back to that. South side of town here, be from Brown County 19, which is the road south of Walmart, when you get down to the south bypass, and then 2 miles east over to the south side of Joby Acres. That's just about, if we don't get that in the next year or two, we'll have to mill it up and start over. 3A going up, we'll wait for the bridge to get done, because the bridge construction is going to destroy the road. We tried to have them design it with precast pieces, so you just haul them in once, but the combination of the folks up there wanted the bridge raised, so the lower core at the bottom of the bridge is 2 feet higher than it is now, and in the process of doing that, it kind of made the precast pieces not the most feasible. So we're back to pour it in place, which the downside is you got to truck all the concrete in there. So Road 3A is probably going to get pummeled, which is not the end of the world, because it needs to be put back together again anyway.
It's been pummeled before.
Yes, and it just like 20 that we're working on next year, though they got some high quality Band-Aids, but they got things that were 3, 4, 5 year fixes, probably 7, 8 years ago. So just trying to buy time. And we're a few years behind, but we are getting cycled back around there. But we'll wait, if something happens and that bridge gets kicked back again, I don't see that it would, but if it did, then we just push back the road project. I'm not gonna fix the road before we do the bridge project, because that's literally the only way to get in there, so.
What's the best way to come in, before 3A, when they're coming up out of town? Are they gonna follow 5 and then go up 6? Or are they gonna?
I'm gonna push them to come across 3.
Okay.
Because it's gravel and
Yep,
it's easier to put back together. That's
Makes
what well, we're not gonna push them. They're gonna haul it on 3.
Okay. Is that 2 or 3 miles on 6 there? They'll
2.
go on, okay, 2 miles on 6 then?
Yep.
Okay.
And
That's
this
not so
has
bad.
all been repaved in the last 7, 8, 9 years, so, I mean, it's not, this has got a lot of blotter in it, that's why I
Right.
know it's gonna
Right.
just vaporize. This actually has a full mat on it the whole distance.
Hopefully
so-
it'll hold up better.
Yeah, I mean, it should be okay.
Okay.
I said that before too. Brown County 16, we're gonna try another another, cold in place on it, similar to what we did on the Richmond Road and what we did on 23 from Fernie to Warner. And then come back with a micro surface on top of it. That's all gonna be one project. That's basically what we did on the Richmond Road. I think it looked pretty good. The other concern I have about is the way that grade's shaped. I don't wanna slap another 4 inches on the top of it and just overlay it, so we'll do a cold in place, which won't change the, very minimal change in the profile of the grade, and then put a micro on top of it, and it'll, you'll only be raising the grade really that far. The only hiccup would be is that when they do the analysis, if it's not a candidate for a cold in place recycle, but I think it is. I think we got enough there. That's another road that should be way, way worse than it is for the amount of work that we've done on it over the years. And that, in my entire career, we've never paved a full depth thing on that. We've done some pretty substantial maintenance things, and it's crappy, but it's not, it could be worse, I guess.
Yeah. The microsurfing, how much does that add?
Not very much, probably like 3/8 to a half inch.
Okay.
Depending on the condition of the road, there's some places they do what's called a scratch course, so you kind of level it up with a really thin one, and then they'll put another one on top. So in some of those areas, you might get a little over a half inch, but it's pretty thin. And then those last three on there would be our large microsurfacing project for 2026. There would have been one next year, but I took it out because the paving was more important in those locations. I'm not gonna say that because I couldn't get $18 million out of you, but there will be, that's showing 30 miles, and on here, what year are we in, 26?
Yep.
Boy, I better pick it up, we'll be here all day. Is the green line. So, the stuff that we kinda tidied up this year, we did a little down here, and we'll get this all paved. I forgot to throw in the 3 miles on 16, but as soon as that bridge gets done at Sand Lake, we'll come in behind them and pave all the rest of that up there, and then the following year we'll come with micro on all of 16, 11, and 13 over 260. So, that's what the dash line there is. And that's gonna run about 50,000 a mile for, what I say, 30 miles, so that whole cost will be about $1.5 million for the microsurfacing. Okay, that's 26. Move along, everybody good?
Everybody's good.
27's just kind of more of the same. 27's the year that if anything gets, it's not quite as, there's not as much stuff in 27. So if something comes up, it's gonna go into 27, because that's the only, that's got a little more wiggle room in there for money right now. So, why do I have that in there? That's not right. Down here, the yellow. So this is something that I didn't necessarily this is something that we wanted to maybe leave gravel if we could someday, but it's actually, in harvest, it gets to where you gotta blade it too much. But anyway, in 27, we're gonna do those 4 miles, and then this whole thing will be paved. We milled up the rest of that, some of this, so you'll have a little gravel loop here that comes up, and it seems to make sense to me, but this is a road that maybe we weren't gonna pave back, is what I'm saying, but I think based on the amount of truck traffic during harvest, most, 2/3 of the year you're fine, but it's a complaint generator big time, and it's all tied to harvest. It's not bingo night and they don't like driving in the dust. I mean, that thing gets beat up pretty bad. So, I got 12E in here for that year. No, I got some more stuff already, and I was gonna try so hard not to. Why don't I have that on here?
12E should be in 27?
Yeah, according to my map. Maybe that's why I got so much room there.
You have 12E and 28.
Do I? Okay, well,
Yep.
oh, it's just the wrong
12 to Dade County.
It's just the wrong color. We'll ignore that one for right now.
Okay.
So we got this one, 21 between 14 and 16. 11 between 16 and 18. What is... Okay. East of Columbia. By then that'll be completely pummeled into dust too, and that most likely will have to be milled. That's another one just like this one and this one, where we did a little water, a little paving, a little patching, a little chip seal, and just said, okay, here, use this for a while. But now we're back to where we're gonna have to do something substantial. We put this back together, and this got milled, and that's been milled, but it'll get paved back. So I mean, there's some trade-off there. We're paving some of these and gonna improve them, but these 10 miles used to be paved too, and now they're not. So there is some balance. And then that in 27, we've got another 23 miles of microsurfacing. The rest of 16 down to US 12 and around the corner. On 13, I wonder if this one should be on there too, as being dashed.
but from 37 over to Day County. And that's our busiest road that's not 5 miles from Aberdeen, is the Pierpont Road.
Okay.
Just a little side note. How am I doing, Matt? You doing okay? I only got lost once, and we're gonna blame IMAG for the map, so.
At least I didn't do it.
Okay, 28. Starts getting a little vague in 28, because they're trying to guess what the condition of the road's gonna be in 4 years, you know, and so. Gonna do these 4 miles. And that's one that could change between now and then, but as of right now, we'll do these up to here. I'm not really interested in paving down through the river bottom because it just flows right up right away. But,
Is that gravel right now?
it's gravel right now, yep. It used to be paved, sort of. Brown County 6 from US 12 to Spink County and, US 12 to Spink County, and then 23 from Edmonds County to 281, that big purple cross there. It's gonna need something, but I don't know exactly what. I know there'd be a few spots that'll have to be paved, out here, but it's not a lot. We might try putting micro in there. We gotta see what's coming, but that's why I have it listed 10 miles there's asphalt construction overlays. I'm doing a little bit of guessing on those two. And then 12E, it's colored wrong, but again, that's 5 years out. I don't know. It gets more use than you think. It's not as much as a Pierpont Road, and there's quite a few. There's about 5 different people living out there that use it a lot for egg stuff. I would have liked to have gotten away from all the county roads right next to the state roads, but I think that ship has sailed as far as trying to get people to go other places. And then Brown County 14, the microsurfacing is all of Brown County 14. From 5 down to
11.
I got 11, it'll actually go down to the water plant.
Oh.
Which is a little bit, at the bridge there, we actually, I think we stopped at the bridge going north anyway, so we'll come all the way down to the Elm Bridge by the water plant. Okay, 29. My colors are all horsed up. I'm gonna get you another map with some corrections on it, but, so we're going to the blue now. 29, correct?
You're gonna spend some money in 29.
Yeah, $24 million, get ready. Let's just put the bridges over to the side. We'll talk about the road stuff. So, we got, Brown County 14, I got it listed on here from 14E to Spink County, but it should be this blue one. But I don't know what I did with the other one. There's a few things, I just got the maps this morning, and I procrastinated, so you can find me for that, I guess. But these 6 miles are in there, in 29. And then we've got this whole microsurfacing, which is all the stuff that we hopefully will do this year. In 29 we'll cover with the microsurfacing. In the meantime, we'll get this one in there too. And the Claremont Road going into Claremont's fine still. So that's a microsurfacing project in 29. Okay, now these bridges. None of these bridges are in trouble. None of them are eligible for money. They're all posted to straight trucks. But if you have a legal load in a semi, doesn't matter how long it is, if you have a legal load in a semi on the road, you can cross the bridge illegally with it.
And that's all 4 of those bridges, which I'll show you there, the blue things on here. One's right on the county line down there. We'll come back to the one at Warner. This one's on 14, just go south of the airport and keep going, where you cross the Mog down there is this one. And this one isn't even posted at all, it's just gonna be a really expensive bridge, so I have it in the plan so that we can get a grant for it. Now, yesterday afternoon, Kinnenberg stopped by my office, which was very nice, but that's not normal, and I was asking him questions about my 5th year. And he said, I can amend the plan. The reason that I have been doing this is I didn't understand that I can come in the middle of the year after I get my bridge, after we get our bridge inspection reports. So if something in there dropped way down, you can come in November and go, oh crap, we better put this one in the plan so that if we want to do something with it, we can get a grant for it. I didn't know you could do that till yesterday, so that's why I got these 4 bridges in there. They're not really gonna all be in the 5th year, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think in 10 years we're gonna be dealing with any of them, based on the way that kind of bridge ages. Now, that's not that's a pitching from the hip thing, but I've been waiting for both of these since they were posted, and they haven't gotten any worse in the last 5 inspections. And that type of design of bridge comes down to this point, and then it levels off and just kind of stays there for quite a while. So the reason I'm saying that is 3 out of 5 commissioners have asked me about the bridge outside of, and they were separate, it wasn't a quorum deal, they were separate interactions, okay? But they asked me about the bridge outside of Warner, and admittedly, the surfacing is hokey. I mean, the surfacing needs an improvement, and it's kind of rough and bumpy, but the bridge, actually, carrying capacity of the bridge is no different than it's been for the last, since it went posted, you know, in the last 8 years, probably. And that doesn't mean we can't replace it before it's eligible, but my appetite for doing that has, just really changed, because our bridges have gone up, 80%. It was a little different when you could put one over the gym. Well, this one up at Hecla, 10 years ago we did it for $2.2 million. That bridge now would be more like 5 or 6. So it's not really an option anymore. These smaller ones, like that 350 I was talking about, or a 40-footer or something, that's a whole different story. But so anyway, that's why I have those in there. You're probably going to see them disappear now that I know we can interject them at any time. And like I said, I'll go through the entire list of bridges more thoroughly here in like a month or so. But that's why that looks like that. And I'm gonna call them and go in Pier and go, I know that this looks hinky, my 5th year on this, but I can either modify it and just take those 4 bridges out of the plan, it wouldn't matter, or just leave them in there and have them approve it. I don't know. It doesn't really make any difference because it's in the last year, but I don't want them to kick it back to me because it says I'm gonna have the $24 million budget in 2029 when we know that's not gonna happen. So, I didn't mean to convolute that too bad, but I did, so. Okay, so that's the actual stuff we're looking at doing. Comments or questions about it, or something that's not there that you thought should be, other than 10, Doug?
I didn't say everything, whatever you said there.
Well, but you can tell your constituents that you were pushing for it.
Yeah.
You brought it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go to the money side, Lance, as usual, I'm guessing on a lot of this stuff, and I don't change the license or the wheel tax, or I did up the STIP payout, and I guess at the tax part of it. So the purpose, this also, it can be a fluid document. It just has to correspond to the other ones I just showed you. I can't have all that stuff in there and then you come to this and it says we have $2,500, right? So as you go through this,
I just took the general fund property tax, which I upped, which I think is that close? Vaguely, I know you're the auditor and it's gotta come out to the penny, but I mean, is that kinda close?
Well, you don't have the road and bridge levy now.
I know, they don't have that on here as a separate thing, so I'm just lumping that in with the general funds.
So if you're gonna put it in the general fund, it's gonna be a little bit more.
It should be a little bit more, okay. But I don't have, okay, good. So, anyway, then you just take that across, and I'll be honest, I've never dug into the wheel tax or the licenses too much to know which way that trends or to follow it, so those numbers are just in there. Our STIP is up a little over 500 now, I believe. The only other things in there would be, there's $4 million in there for, that first $4 million would be the Sand Lake Bridge. And then the $3.325 million at the bottom is our federal local bridge program money. That's why they're in different columns, they're just two different funding mechanisms. Then for 3 years, nothing fun happens, it's just us paying our own way. And then in the 5th year, that's why I have the 14 million in there, which would be big, grants, but that's probably not gonna happen, it's just to make it correspond to that other one, to the, other sheet. If you look on the bottom, that first one, the budget will be a little wiggly, cause we'll, you know, depending on what happens with the extra money we're putting in there to pay for the bridges. Then for 3 years, it looks kinda normal, and then that last year will be, it's just holding places, basically.
Right.
So, and like I said, I'm gonna talk to Pierre, if they want me to change that last year, all I'm gonna do is take the 14 million off of this column and lower that other number, go down to 11, if they would prefer that I send it in this way instead of that way.
Sure.
So, does it kinda make a little sense?
It does.
Okay.
It's a big county and a lot of roads and a lot of bridges and a lot to keep track of and kept up.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll keep moving, we can't be afraid to pivot, 'cause we got so little price controls for a good portion of what we do, and, we have some other things that, you know, don't necessarily pertain to the road plan that we're looking at. We're gonna try crushing some more of our own gravel, our actual gravel. And Matt and John and Josh have got a lot of different approaches they wanna take this stuff, and I'm pretty pleased. A little quick update, we got done, like I said, with 12W yesterday. Got a lot of feedback on that, way more feedback than I thought we should have had for a project that came out that nice, and if you get calls, we're gonna do some shouldering work yet, we're gonna stripe it yet, so there's, you know, the road's black and smoother now, but we still have some other, you know, things, so if people are asking, we're not 100% done yet, we have more approaches to do, I think.
Yeah, we should hopefully be done by the end of the week, with the approaches.
Right.
And then we'll work on the shoulder.
We're working on trying to get our hands on a shouldering machine, because it would be, make our life a little more simple, a little less messy, and probably won't mark up the road as much as we can, but, they don't have those sitting down at the Walmart, we gotta go find one somewhere.
Our material will go a lot further too, you don't have near as much weight.
You don't waste it all down on the bottom, like you come this side dump and lop it over there and then try to carry it down to put the shoulder on there, you lose a lot. But
Sure.
the machine will put it right where you want it, so.
I haven't been down there, but have you guys done any shouldering down on 21, the stuff that was just paved this year?
We did a little work on that prior to that,
Okay.
but we didn't do anything after the fact, did we?
Through the river bottom, yes, we did that before, built them shoulders down, but no, that's another area where we're gonna have to shoulder.
Okay.
Yep.
That's still on the agenda for this year, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
You learn how to answer questions to those commissioners, yep.
Go ahead and get that done.
Yeah, we'll put her down.
But everything we paved this year, we plan to have shoulders on yet this year.
We're doing that with our concrete, we're using it as a riprap, since we're planning on crushing natural rock, so we're hauling it it out for that. We won't be making gravel out of it this year. So, but that's about, I don't know, what else, we're gonna finish that little bit of paving, and then we'll go to hauling gravel pretty much, and mowing still. Just doing the usual stuff.
Update on the guardrail at Richmond?
It got awarded to Dakota Fence. I have not heard anything about a start date yet, but you write that down, look into that.
And have you heard the gentleman this morning asked if we put it on the agenda. Have you received anything regarding the engineering study from IMEG Mansfield area?
When he was speaking to you, I went in there and called him.
Okay.
And I said, well, they're gonna be on the agenda next week. You got a deliverable that you got enough that we can at least talk about it? So they're gonna move in that direction. I'm gonna go visit them either later today or tomorrow, and
Okay.
that'll be the goal, is to have some kind of direction there.
Okay.
It won't be
We'll put that on the agenda then.
It won't be 2 sets of 6-foot pipe, I know that, but,
Right.
they'll have something for us.
At least we'll have something,
Yep.
something that
Say,
we can
here we go,
say,
this is
here's
what we're- Yep.
here's what the engineers recommend. Good. All right, well, good plan. Appreciate your time and
Anything
effort.
else, Lynn, or, okay, make sure the auditor's happy. No, thank you guys very much, and you got any questions?
There's a guy that asked me about a culvert down south of Beef Plant, but I forgot where it was, I got it written down.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
All right,
Derek.
you
Job
betcha.
well
Have a
done.
great day. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Certification? I do. They're all warmed up, you guys, okay?
All right, next up, the consent calendar, Lynn.
Do we have to approve that or anything?
What's that?
Do we have to approve this 5-year plan or anything?
Do we just acknowledge it, just informational?
Approval of the general meeting minutes of September 24th.
Move.
Motion by Dennert,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move.
Motion by Dennert,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignment.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Travel request.
Move.
Motion by Gage,
Second.
second by Feldheim. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Approved travel reimbursement rates as of October 1st.
Move.
Second. Motion by Feldheim, second by Dennert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any other business come before the Brown County Commission this morning? We've had a request to go into executive session regarding personnel, and this one I'm not aware of any legal or contracts, so we'll deal with personnel. Ross, anything from you?
No, I got back early. Rachel was gonna hang around, but she took off, so we'll do that.
Okay. Move. Motion by Dennert to go into executive session. Second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are in exec. Lights back on. We are out of exec. You can add legal. We discussed personnel and legal during exec with no action as a result. It's kind of a moot point now. Everybody's gone, but yesterday, there was a proclamation by the governor to lower the Capitol flag to half-staff to honor the memory of former legislator Dr. Don Van Etten from Pennington County. I served with him in the House in the early 2000s, very good guy, passed away. And so I asked Judy to lower our flag to half-staff to honor his memory as well. It wasn't a directive from the state. But I did serve with Representative Van Etten, and a very good guy, and an excellent legislator, so thoughts and prayers to his family. Is there anything else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Dennert, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, motion carries. We are adjourned.